Good to see you guys. Glad to have you here with us. I got to tell you, I love the season that we're in, this rise, raise, rattle season. We are raising up these Joshuas, these local missions that we support. And at the end of each sermon, we're playing these videos that we've seen the last 4 weeks, and such powerful stories of what God is doing. We've heard about SALT and Restore and With God's Grace, and they're going to talk about a day of honor. It's a fantastic ministry. I'm so excited about that. But we've asked you to rise and raise up these ministries in prayer so that God will be the one doing the rattling. And I want to tell you, church, God is rattling. He is rattling through your prayers and through these ministries. And when we ask you to rise and raise, we're asking you to engage in spiritual battle. Every time you lift up one of these Joshuas, you're engaging in spiritual warfare. As a matter of fact, in the prayer guide at the very back of it, there is a psalm of battle, Psalm 35. And we're asking God to step up and showcase his power, to work through these Joshuas. And I want to tell you, church, we are in a battle. We are in a battle. I want to tell you, the world that we live in doesn't care about your faith. The world that we live in can give two craps about your spiritual life, about your spiritual health. And the devil, the enemy, will use the ways of the world to come at you. As a matter of fact, all he can use are the ways of the world. And I want to tell you, we are in a battle. Ladies, the world tells you what beauty looks like. You got to have a size 0 waist and a J-Lo booty. It's crap. It's crap. Look at the magazines. These girls are all airbrushed. That's not who they really are. The diet industry, the fitness industry, the makeup industry, multi-billion-dollar industries in America. Nothing wrong with looking pretty, ladies. But what the world tells you is a lie. We are in a battle. Men, the world tells us what it means to be a man. You got to be tough. You can't show any emotion. You can't express your feelings. Keep it on the inside. Or tells you, hey, this is what success looks like. It's about how much money you make, how you provide for your families. I want to tell you, men, it's a lie. We are in a battle. Our young ones are under attack. I read an article, between the ages of 8 and 18, there's been an exponential increase in depression, anxiety, and suicide. My sister-in-law came in town from Phoenix 2 weeks ago. She's a nurse in Phoenix. They admitted a kid who's 7 years old tried to kill himself. Our young ones are under attack. Church, we are in a battle. And the battle's been going on from the very beginning of time. Sometimes it's really severe, sometimes it's less severe, but the battle is ongoing. And I want to talk to you today about the battle that we are in. I want to frame today's message. We'll be in Exodus 17 in just a moment, but I want to frame it around my favorite verse in the Gospel of John to give you some hope, to give you some confidence in this battle. It's in John 16:33. And Jesus says, this is the upper room scene. He says, in this world, you will have some trouble. What he is saying is, in this world, you're going to have some battles, some really intense battles. But he says, take heart. He's not being flippant here. Oh, you'll be fine. Just take heart. Actually, take heart is very emphatic. He says, I want you to hold on. Hold on to your faith. Hold on to me when you were in the battle, because we have this promise. I have overcome the world. No matter what it is you are going through, no matter how intense the battle, Jesus has overcome it already. And we stand in victory in that. And so when the battle hits your life, we are to run to Jesus. We are to cling to the cross. But I want to tell you this. I want you to hear me very clearly on this. Clinging to the cross, clinging to Jesus in the midst of a storm doesn't guarantee your desired outcome in that battle. Things might not turn out the way you want in the battle. But what we get is more of Jesus. And at the end of your life, it doesn't matter how beautiful you were, if you had a J-Lo booty or not, how much money you've made. The only thing that matters is Jesus Christ. So he has overcome the world. So we're going to look at the battle today that we are in. And we're all in a battle. We're going to look at whose battle it is, what the battle is actually about, and how we can fight that battle. Are you ready? I hope so. We're going to pick up here in verse 14. We've been talking about Moses and Joshua, how they've been battling the Amalekites. We're going to pick up, this is right after Joshua has defeated the Amalekites. There's a few verses at the end that just really kind of stood out to me. Picking up here in verse 14. And the Lord said to Moses, write this in a book as a memorial and recite it to Joshua, that I will utterly wipe out the memory of Amalek from under heaven. And Moses built an altar and named it, the Lord is my banner. Our banner is Jesus has overcome the world. And he said, because the Lord has sworn, it's a promise, the Lord will have war against Amalek from generation to generation. A couple things that are very interesting here for me is this. He first says, I will wipe out the name of Amalek forever under heaven. And yet here we are some 2,500 plus years later, still mentioning Amalek. But then 2 verses later, he says, the Lord, this is my promise, I will go to war with Amalek from generation to generation. It sounds like it's still going on today. So maybe kind of dig in a little deeper on who Amalek is. Who are the Amalekites? And so I picked up here on a Hebrew word. Amalek actually is 2 Hebrew words together. Ayin, means your eye, what you see with. Malek means disconnected. It means severed. So Amalek literally means eye severed. Disconnected eye. It could be translated as spiritual blindness. For the Jews in the time of Jesus, they saw Amalek representing anything in the world that was sin, that was dark, that was evil, that would cause spiritual blindness. St. Augustine said that Amalek represents the city of the world. And Israel is the city of God. And we know about the world, it doesn't give 2 craps about your spiritual life. And so Amalek represents anything in the world that is pulling you away from your faith. Anything that's distracting you from your spiritual life is Amalek. And so my question to you is, who are the Amalekites in your life? Who is Amalek in your life? Who is distracting you from your faith? Who is pulling you away from your spiritual life? And whatever comes to your mind, that is the battle that you are in. We are in a battle, church. We are in a battle. And the third thing about these verses that's very interesting, God says, I swear, that's my promise, that I will go to battle against Amalek from generation to generation. What it says to me is that the battle that we are in, it's not my battle. It's God's battle. It is God's battle. He does ask us to partner with him. He asked Moses and Joshua and Aaron and Hur to partner with him. And one of the reasons why he does that, because he wants us to trust in him more fully. He wants to strengthen our faith. He wants to grow our faith. He wants to build our faith. So he asks us to partner with him. And he is going to war against anything that gets in the way between you and God. Whoever Amalek is in your life, God has sworn to go to war against that. Church, we are in a battle. But the battle we're in, it's not physical in nature. You might see it with your eyes, But the battle that we are in is spiritual in nature. And the reason why it's spiritual, because the battle is about our spiritual lives. It's about our faith. And I want to talk to you just for a few moments about your faith. Do you know your greatest asset, your greatest commodity? It's not how well you serve, how much money you give, how often you come to church. Your greatest asset is your faith. All we have to offer to God is our sin and our faith. The word says without faith, it's impossible to please God. Faith makes us justified. Faith saves us. Faith heals us. So our greatest commodity is our faith in God. Faith is a choice. It is a perspective. Hebrews 11 says it great. Now faith is the certainty of things hoped for, a proof of things not seen. Faith is focusing on God who is not seen. It's walking by faith and not by sight. The only thing you need in life is faith. Faith in Jesus. And that's why we are in this battle. Your most precious commodity is under attack. Faith. And I want to say this about faith. When you came in to this church today, faith isn't the only thing you brought in with you. In your hearts, in your souls, in your spirits, there's this community going on, and faith resides there. But across the street is doubt. Next door is fear. Down the street is anxiety, depression, anger. And when you walked in today, you brought the whole gang with you. They're all there. They're all on the same block. You know, I talked to you guys about this last year. I only shared this with my wife before that time, that I struggled with depression. I'd done that with most of my entire life. And when I brought that up, this last year has been extremely hard for me when it comes to depression. There's been attack after attack after attack. It's in the neighborhood. It's in my neighborhood. Depression's there. And what I have learned by walking by faith is that when depression hits, I can now see depression for what it is. For me, it's a gift to me. I know it sounds crazy. It's a gift to me. Because it's in my weakness where He is made strong. It's when I struggle with it that I have to lean on Him for even more. And so it doesn't go away. And I want to tell you, sometimes it sucks. I can't get out of bed sometimes. It takes everything I have to do that. But walking by faith is I trust in who He says He is, and that He is there with me, that He is using it to build my faith. The enemy wants to use it to tear my faith away. Depression's still on my block. Walking by faith doesn't mean fear, doubt goes away. But walking by faith helps you to learn how to control the neighborhood. Because the more you control, the more you walk by faith, you start living by faith. You start talking by faith. You raise your kids by faith. You do your business by faith. You go through adversity by faith. And I want to tell you something, faith moves mountains. Faith in God unlocks the power of heaven. God says, everything I have is yours, and faith unlocks that. So everything we do here as a church, every sermon series, every spiritual challenge is about encouraging your faith, to walk in faith, to grow in faith. Because the more you walk in faith, the more you control the neighborhood. Church, we are in a battle. We are in a battle. And it's no wonder why the devil wants to take your faith away. It is no wonder why it's your most important and precious commodity you possess. But here's where it gets really complicated, church. Because when the battle hits, the devil doesn't fight fair. I told you before, he uses the world to come at you. He will use the things in your life. He will use your health against you. He will use relationships. He will use your finances. You might say the devil wants my car. He wants my money. He wants my job. He doesn't care about that. He's hitting it because you care about it. What he wants is your faith. And he's hitting the things that are important to you, the things that you can see, to pull you away from your faith. Whatever that house is on the block that has the biggest size to it, doubts. You might have a medical problem. He's going to come in and poke that doubt. Did God say he was going to be with you? Is he really that good? Does he really answer prayers? And what he's doing is pulling you away from the most important thing you have, which is faith. The enemy wants your faith. When he comes to kill, steal, and destroy, it's not your finances. It's not your health. He might hit that. It's your faith. That's what he wants. And I want to say this. I know some of your stories. I know what some of you have been through. And I want to say it is horrendous. It's awful. The world, the enemy has hit you really hard. Is rattling your faith cage. I don't want to be flippant about this. Because when it hits our life, it hurts. I hate having depression. I hate it. Sometimes it pops up and I don't want it. We don't like it when he comes at us. And the thing of it is, he doesn't fight fair. Church, the devil doesn't fight fair. In the story of Moses and Joshua battling the Amalekites, there's a little note, there's a little description in Deuteronomy that I want to share about this. It's really interesting. In verse 17, Deuteronomy 25. Remember what Amalek did to you on the way when you came out of Egypt. They were just coming out of Pharaoh's captivity. They went through the Red Sea. They're free. Here comes Amalek. How he confronted you on the way and attacked among you all the stragglers at your rear when you were tired and weary. The enemy will hit you at your most vulnerable states. He will hit you when you are tired. He will hit you when you are weary. Because he wants you to stop going to God. We're in a battle, church. We're in a battle. And it's the Lord's battle. He's the one. It's in the battle for us. But he asks us to partner with him through faith. Because faith is what the battle is ultimately about. And here's how we go about fighting that battle. There are two things that I want to share with you about fighting this battle. The first thing is you can't fight this battle by yourself. You can't fight this battle by yourself on your own. The enemy, the devil, the world will try to swallow you up. When Moses is in the battle, he's on top of the hill. He is praying for Joshua. He is praying for the battle. He gets weary. He gets tired. He's seeing these kids dying in battle. Are we going to actually win this battle? Will God deliver us from this battle? And you see here in verse 12, and Moses' hands were heavy. So they took a stone and they put it under him and he sat on it. And Aaron and Hur supported his hands. And it says this, so his hands were steady until the sun sets. The Hebrew word for steady means faith. Aaron and Hur, when Moses was at his weakest, when his faith was starting to crumble, when he was seeing with his eyes what was going on around him, he had Aaron and Hur lift him up. And I want to ask you, church, do you have an Aaron? Do you have a Hur in your life? Someone who will speak faith into your situation. When life hits hard, when the battle is intense, do you have an Aaron and a Hur to speak faith? I feel like giving up. You're not. I'm with you in this. There's been a lot of people in my life, from Randy to Wes, brothers who have spoken into my life this last year. The challenge I've had in this past year, they've encouraged me. We can't do this battle alone. This is why coming to church is so important. This is why being surrounded by a body of believers is so important. Because we need some people to speak faith into our situation. And the second way we battle, we don't do it alone, church. But the weapons that we use are not of the world's. When the world hits, things that we can see with our eyes, our natural response is to fight the way the world fights. But God says, no. We have a different set of weapons that we use. Paul says it this way very well. 2 Corinthians 10, verse 3. For though we walk in the flesh, I'm going to use the world instead of flesh. It's the same thing. For though we walk in the worlds, we do not wage battle according to the worlds. For the weapons of our warfare are not of the worlds, but divinely powerful for the destruction of fortresses. When we are in a battle, the enemy is counting on you to use the ways of the world to deal with the battle that you're in. And God says, no. We have weapons, spiritual weapons, that can break strongholds. And we see it in the story of Moses. He goes on top of the hill, raises his hands in prayer. Prayer is your greatest weapon. When the battle comes, when it rages on in your life, our greatest weapon is prayer. And why prayer is so important. Because when the world comes at you, when the devil comes at you, there's things he's hitting that you can see and feel. It's tangible. Prayer keeps our mind on things that are heavenly. Walk by faith, not by sights. Prayer keeps us connected, united with God. That's why prayer is so vital. It strengthens our faith. It keeps us connected to the source. I know a lot of your situations. I know how hard life is. And I hope I don't come across as condemning anybody who doesn't walk by faith completely, because I struggle with it sometimes too. Life is hard. And it's really hard because the source behind the battle and the hardness of our life is our faith. Because the enemy wants our faith. And he will do everything he can to pull you away from it. When Jesus said, you're going to have some battles in this life. You're going to have some troubles in this life. When he says, take heart, he's saying, man, I know how hard it is. And you think it might be wiped out anytime soon, but just hold on to me. Take heart, hold on to your faith, because I have overcome this world. That's the promise we have, church. That's the promise that we have. an overcoming Savior who goes to battle for us. You know, prayer is the strongest weapon that we have, but prayer unlocks the other weapons that we have that are spiritual in nature. As we've been lifting up these Joshuas, we're engaging in battle with these Joshuas, praying for God to work mightily through what they're doing. We're unlocking the other weapons that we have that are not of this world. To love, to show forgiveness, to show grace, to show mercy, to accept, to embrace. And you're going to see a video in just a moment about the Day of Honor and how these Joshuas are going into these situations where these ladies have been abused, cast to the side. And it's your prayers as we're praying for this battle that they're showing God's love and God's grace and God's mercy, because those are the weapons of heaven. And it's through your prayers that we're able to unlock those weapons. For these ladies to experience just how much they are valued, just how much they are loved, just how much God cares for them. So we're going to show you this video, Day of Honor.
My name is Kelly Savage, and I worked with Restoration Church on the last Day of Honor, and looking forward to working the Day of Honor again in July this year. We have different stations to make women feel beautiful. We do like hair and makeup, and treat them to clothes, and they get gift bags full of stuff that they can use to beautify themselves and really uplift them. I think maybe I realized how important it is for women to feel beautiful about themselves when I started working with the lady from DCI, when she spent 3 years there. And when she got out, I helped her to and from her appointments to get dentures. And when I picked her up the day that she got her dentures, she was so emotional. And it was, I guess I took for granted my teeth until that day. And then I realized how important teeth were to someone and how your self-esteem, women especially, we need lifted. It's just a great experience because these women have been through some of the hardest things in life. And I think something that's difficult to understand about these women, or it's people don't understand, is that through the traumas that they've been through, the trafficking and the domestic violence and those types of things, is that their body is the crime scene and they don't escape it. They're with it for the rest of their lives. And so to help them feel beautiful for a day means everything to these women. When Randy asked me to help with the next Day of Honor, I thought of some things that I really needed help with when I first got in recovery, from not just drugs, but from the domestic violence that I experienced. And a couple of things that we're going to do differently this time is we're going to have somebody come in and talk about finances and how to budget. A lot of us are embarrassed to ask for help. So I think that'll be great that there'll just be someone here and they'll just walk through a simple little thing with them about budgeting their money, which I think everyone needs to take a class on. And then we're gonna do, with the esthetician, we're gonna have them talk about skincare. And, because women, as much as we would like to age gracefully, sometimes we need a little help in that department. So someone will come in and just talk about basic things to take care of your skin. We will do the restore with the clothing again and the hair and makeup and have a buffet of food all day. And I'm really looking forward to being a part of it. I would say to any women that want to help that maybe you're in a spot in your life where you don't know what direction, like, am I doing enough? Am I doing the right things? And when you help these women, yes, you're empowering them, but they empower you. And it's so amazing to see, because when we were younger, girls were so catty towards each other, and to see women come together and support and love each other, even if it isn't life-changing for them at that moment, you're planting the seed. And that's where it all starts.